Whenever you think about the United States space program, what are the geographical sites that you first think of? Well, for me, it's always been Cape Kennedy, previously Cape Canaveral. That's where they shoot off from. That's where SpaceX rockets go off from. So that's the first thing I think of. Then I probably think of the Space Center at Houston. Houston, we have a problem. Okay, that makes sense. Or maybe Edwards Air Force Base, where the U.S. shuttle aircraft ultimately landed sometimes. Never, ever would I think of Huntsville, Alabama. And yet, in Huntsville, Alabama, there is the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. And that's where we're going today. We're going to Huntsville, Alabama to see what's there. Why is it there? They don't shoot rockets off from Huntsville. Well, we're going to go see what's going on. Join us. Well, Tanya, one thing that we've discovered here in Alabama on our way to Huntsville is that if you are behind a funeral procession, number one, they're led by a cop, and then there's probably about, 10 or 15 cars in this procession going down a 4-lane highway. But everybody first of all, number one, you can't pass the procession. Nobody does that. I don't know if it's the custom or it's the law. And even though it's a 4-lane highway with a median between the two different directions, over on the other side, the oncoming side, people, if you can see it here, pull over and sort of as a sign of respect and off the side of the road. Okay, now we're getting close here. They finally are going off to the cemetery. This has been going on. This is one of the longest rides to the cemetery I've ever seen.
And now we just stop.
And here's another.
There's the copper.
There's the copper. Another policeman on the other side of the road. Everyone had pulled over. So, what does this tell us, Tanya?
I think it's time to turn it off.
It's obviously the custom here in Alabama that they show respect to the departed. Very interesting. Well, Tanya, we've arrived in Huntsville.
Yay!
Yeah, we've checked into our hotel. We had a little bit of a nap, and now it's time for dinner. Let's see what we can find here. Well, this is truly amazing, Tanya. Here we are at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville, Alabama.
This is the largest space center on Earth.
Space Museum, I think.
Space Museum.
Yeah.
On Earth.
On Earth. In the wild.
In the wild.
In the wild. Anyway, as we're just coming from the parking lot, already we can see there's some, I can't, we'll find out what the name of all these things are, but that's the booster rocket. We go over here and there's some other spacecraft that are sitting here. Obviously, they're not going to be launched from here. And here's the exciting thing. I wish I was about, I don't know, really young, because there is the space camp where we could go.
Wow.
But we won't be doing that today. Okay, here we go. Now this is really clever. They've got, you go right into the gift shop before you even go into the Space Center.
Oh, good.
Whoa, man, this is so cool.
I want to stop here on the way out and get a t-shirt.
Okay. Tanya, you ready to take off in a rocket?
Oh, man.
Here's one right here.
Great day for it.
Yeah. Did you make reservations for us for this? Or?
Business class.
Business class. That is so cool.
Sorry, but no windows.
I can't wait. No windows.
No windows.
Okay. Do we get to sit next to each other?
Yes.
Okay, good. Tanya, did you bring your spacesuit?
I didn't, but I have my earplugs.
Oh, that's good.
So that's
good. Got your earplugs, but no spacesuit.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just hope that. Just take a deep breath before we get out of the atmosphere.
And you don't need sunscreen.
That's right. Super. Good. Well, here we've got a Saturn F1 engine. Doesn't look very big. There must have been several of these. Yes, there were 5 of these that were required to launch a Saturn V rocket. The engines were designed to burn for 150 seconds. And then I guess they sort of dropped off. Yeah, that's right. And they dropped to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Here's your basic wheeled carrier mobile intergalactic missile. Just take on this truck and take it to your nearest convenient launching site and have at it. Now this is a very early version of the Space Shuttle launch vehicle, also known as a CH-47 Chinook. The concept was that the helicopter would take the shuttle up to about, I don't know, as far as the helicopter would go, maybe, 10,000 feet at the very most, and then let it drop and hope that hopefully everything would fire off and it would work. I'm just kidding, of course. After repeated tests, they found that this was totally unfeasible, and so they opted for the more familiar jillion-dollar rockets that we see. Here's the inside of the CH-47 Chinook. I, fortunately or unfortunately, have never ridden in one of these, but Tanya has.
Yeah.
Did you parachute out of one, or?
No, we were just transporting troops from Oahu to the Big Island.
Okay. Just flying in a Chinook around Hawaii. That sounds like a pretty sweet gig.
It's not bad.
Not bad. Looks like they built a scale model of the moon here. Maybe the guys practiced on this. It looks kind of cheesy. I don't think that's what they really did. It looks kind of like a sand pile. Anyway, here's some great examples of air defense artillery. Here's a U.S. Army Hawk, and over across the way there we've got a Nike Hercules, which was another one of the air defense artillery or air defense missiles that we had. When I was about to be commissioned in the U.S. Army, and looking for trying to figure out which branch I could get into, ADA or air defense artillery was one of the preferred branches because you were assured that you wouldn't have to go to Vietnam. Instead, you were almost assured you would go to Germany because these were all supposed to be on call for fighting against the Russians. And of course, everyone's favorite helicopter, the Huey UH-1. There's a petrified astronaut doing a spacewalk. And here is a Saturn V rocket. Pretty unbelievable. 336 feet tall, or long in this case. we figured out why this place is here in Huntsville, Alabama.
And
Well,
tell me more.
Well, I'm trying to get it right. Okay, Werner von Braun, who was the head of the rocket program in Nazi Germany at the end of the war in 1945, he and a number of his scientific cohorts from the German rocket program surrendered to the United States. And some of them went to Russia apparently, but we got the good ones. That was, as I understand it, and they went off to Fort Bliss, Texas, to work on a rocket program. And then they were transferred to Redstone Arsenal here in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah.
And they were working on rocket programs there, and that was in the early 50s. And that's why the Space Center and Museum is here in Huntsville.
And it's still a working center. Not here necessarily, but
Redstone.
Redstone.
But I don't think they're doing research there. I'm not sure. Anyway, a lot of this went to the Marshall Space Flight Center that was in another place in Alabama. But anyway, that's why it was here. The facility is now owned by the state of Alabama. Did you realize that?
Mm-hmm. You told me.
Advanced research pays off. Okay, that's it for now. And this is an early training vehicle for astronauts prior to the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo programs. The purpose was for them to really get a hands-on experience into what flight really was like at a really basic level. Here on the grounds of the Space Center is a restored A-12 ox cart, which the CIA used in the late 1960s. There were 13 of them that were originally built. There are 7 left. I assume this is one of them. Well, Tanya, we've been here for about 5 hours, and I think we've seen, if not everything, I think we've seen probably
A lot.
enough. Yeah. We were just trying to remember what the planets are in order, starting from the sun. But I think the most important thing I remember is that how many planets are there?
7, 6,
8.
8.
Used to be 9 when I was a kid, but poor Pluto has been downgraded. Yeah, so there are 8. Okay, well, that's it from the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. And, well, tune in again for another exciting adventure later.